Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are plunging into some uh, truly fascinating, maybe even challenging ideas.
Yeah, about how we perceive things, our experiences, especially the difficult ones, and relationships too.
We're drawing from an essay that, well, it offers a pretty distinct perspective on core concepts.
Things like what we label good and bad, and
Yeah,
this whole idea of letting go that you hear everywhere, and love, of course.
right. So our goal today is to really unpack these ideas with you.
Mm-hmm. Try and figure out what the author's really getting at. Some of it sounds, well, pretty counterintuitive at first glance.
Exactly. And maybe see how stepping into this viewpoint might shift how we see the things we struggle with most. We're going to explore the heart of this together.
Okay?
So let's just jump right in. Probably the most provocative statement is right here at the start. All things are good.
Whoa. Yeah, and if you're hearing that, your first thought is probably, hold on. All things, what about, genuine suffering, injustice, loss?
Totally understandable reaction.
Yeah.
And the author kind of anticipates that.
They do. They immediately ask, well, what actually makes something bad?
The argument being that badness isn't like inherent in the thing itself.
No, it's our subjective value assignment. It's what we've decided isn't right based on, well, everything. Our history, family, culture.
And this really hits home when you think about feelings, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We have this huge range of emotions, but we're constantly sorting them. Good pile, bad pile.
But the essay suggests, hang on, all feelings actually serve a purpose.
Right. Some feel good, expansive, show you're on track, sure.
Right.
But others, the uncomfortable ones,
Yeah.
they show you exactly where you might need to redirect, where something needs attention, healing.
And here's the twist, right?
Yeah.
The author suggests maybe those redirection feelings aren't just as important.
But maybe more important, because they signal a necessary change.
Exactly. They highlight where the work is, essentially.
And according to this view, those feelings only really become bad when we fight them, when we resist allowing them to just be there.
So we refuse to permit the discomfort, the message.
And then we label the messenger bad. But the feeling itself was just trying to guide us, show us where healing or a change of course is needed. Our resistance is what makes it feel negative, what makes it stick around.
Okay, so the big takeaway here is that good and bad, they aren't these fixed universal truths.
Not at all. They're labels, filters we apply based on who we are, where we came from, what we believe, collectively too.
And the author suggests there's a kind of freedom in realizing you have agency, in defining what good means in your life.
Yeah, because then potentially everything, even the really hard stuff.
It can be reframed, not as pleasant, obviously, but as good because of why it happened, what it showed you.
Exactly. Good because of what it taught you or forced you to understand or become. It kind of asks you to look at your life and think, where am I just defaulting to someone else's definition of bad?
Wow, that's that's a big shift.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. Another complex area: relationships, love.
Another place where our definitions or expectations cause a lot of struggle.
And the essay is pretty blunt about unconditional love.
Very blunt, suggests it's incredibly rare, like almost mythical.
It argues that most of what we call love is actually based on finding someone who meets a checklist, preconceived conditions.
Yeah, think about it. You connect, they fit the picture, it feels great. But then, inevitably, they change. Or they don't meet one of those conditions you didn't even realize you had.
And then our feelings wobble, right? Sometimes crash. That inner voice screams, wait, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. How could you?
And the insight here, according to the text, is that this reaction, it isn't really about loving the person, the actual being sitting across from you.
It's more about approving or disapproving of what they do for us or for our idea of them.
Exactly. It's tied to our conditions being met or not met.
It points to this very human thing.
Yeah.
We say we want unconditional love, right? We say we want lasting happiness.
Oh, yeah, we say it all the time.
But our actions often show we want love and happiness when someone else provides it, when the circumstances line up perfectly.
Because, well, that puts the responsibility somewhere else, doesn't it? The hard work of choosing happiness, working on our own state, it gets outsourced.
Makes you really examine your own conditions, doesn't it? For giving love, receiving it, even just feeling joy.
Definitely. So, if resistance is what makes feelings bad and conditional expectations mess with relationships, how do we find more stability? How do we get back to what the author calls our locus of control or become more embodied?
The first step offered seems almost too simple.
Right. Just permit all things.
Allow it. The
Yes.
experience, the feeling, the situation. Just allow.
Allow the love, allow the loss. The ebb and the flow, as they put it.
The instruction isn't to try and control it or fix it or even understand it immediately. It's not harbor intention, just be.
Just be with it. And the claim is, this is surprising, that even really deep troubles can start to fade pretty quickly when we center ourselves on that, on just permitting what is.
Yeah, the power of simply allowing. It connects to that Taoist concept the essay brings up.
Ah, the softness and hardness idea.
Right. Softness equals life. Hardness equals death.
Like a body stiffens in death. A tree that gets rigid and hard loses flexibility. It breaks or gets cut down.
So hardness is linked to death. Inflexibility. Softness, flexibility is life.
And applying that internally. When our hearts harden or our minds get rigid,
When we block parts of ourselves, get stuck in these unfiltered emotions.
it's like building up that internal rigidity, that hardness. And the author suggests, like the tree that can only last so long, eventually something has to give. We're sort of forced to break it open.
Whereas softness, permission, aligning with the flow, that's seen as the sustainable way, the path of life.
Now, there's another point, almost a biological angle the author brings in.
Oh, right, about the brain.
Yeah, mentioning that the brain seems to have this mechanism. It focuses intently on the most severe pain, almost blocking out lesser ones temporarily.
Which sounds like a protective thing, maybe.
Well, the author interprets it differently, not just protection, but actually forcing us to confront the hardest part first.
Ah, okay. So the intensity isn't just to manage overwhelm.
But to make sure we deal with the core issue. It propels us, they argue, onto this path of openness by demanding we face what's most difficult. Even if other pains seem dulled for a bit, the focus is on that main point of suffering.
Interesting interpretation. Which leads us, really, to the absolute core idea, the title concept.
Yes, there is no such thing as letting go. There's just accepting what's already gone.
That really stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? It challenges the whole language we use.
Completely. We talk constantly about the effort of letting go, like it's this big active thing we have to do.
But the essay argues we get lost in this labyrinth of the illusion of control, thinking we have to wrestle something into submission, release it.
When actually things only stay painful, stay difficult, the author writes, as long as we hold on, as long as we fight, as long as we control, as long as we don't accept what's already gone.
The pain comes from the fighting, the resisting what is.
Exactly. The struggle is the holding on. The acceptance is realizing it's already gone or changed. The reality has shifted.
What about finding joy? The essay mentions finding joy in the chaos.
Yeah, not waiting for the chaos to end, but finding it right there, even when it's uncomfortable.
So it's not about the external circumstances magically becoming pleasant.
No, it's about the perspective shift within those circumstances. Finding a different way to be with the discomfort, the uncertainty.
So the core mechanism then, isn't this active letting go of something that's still here that we need to push away?
Right. It's about accepting the reality that something has already passed or changed or ended. The feeling of needing to let go is just the symptom of our resistance to that present reality.
It makes you reflect, doesn't it? What are you maybe fighting to hold on to that, if you look honestly, has already shifted?
Where's the fight happening?
Okay, so let's try and wrap up this deep dive. We've touched on some really big ideas.
We have. Challenging that subjective nature of good and bad. Looking at how much of what we call love might actually be quite conditional, tied to what others do.
And then grappling with this central, really powerful idea that moving through difficulty isn't about this big effort of letting go.
But more about the quiet, maybe difficult, but ultimately freeing act of accepting what reality already is. What's already gone or changed.
Yeah, the perspective offered really highlights the power of permitting, just allowing things to arise internally, externally, seeing that as the path to freedom.
And contrasting that with hardness, resistance, which is framed as temporary, brittle.
While softness, acceptance that's aligned with life, with flow.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, for everyone listening, to sort of sit with. Building on this idea of fighting versus accepting.
Okay.
If this essay is onto something, if our pain often comes not from the difficult event itself, but from our fight against its reality, against what has already happened or changed,
Then what potential for maybe immediate ease, or at least a different kind of relationship with the difficulty, becomes available the moment you stop fighting? The moment you just fully accept what is right now?
how does simply ceasing the struggle change things?
Yeah. How does that shift in perspective fundamentally change your relationship with change itself, with loss, with discomfort? Something to explore.